More on this now with our panel. Mark Penn, former Clinton pollster and advisor, and Kellyanne Conway, former advisor, to President Trump, Fox News contributor. Great to have you both here. So this is a race people have been watching very closely. Our Fox Power rankings have it as a lean R, and Karl Rove was just on saying that he believes that J.D. Vance is going to win in Ohio. Mark, what do you think about the race that Tim Ryan has led and how he did last night in the debate?
Well, I don't know. It's always bad when you throw your own party overboard. That's a fundamental sign of weakness. Look, I think today people know that senators don't do much independently. They basically 99% of the time vote with their caucus. And if it's a debate here between Ryan voting 100% of the time for Pelosi and Vance voting with Trump, Trump won the state twice. It does seem to me pretty hard on the basis of trying to abandon the Democratic Party late to really change the natural course here. There are a lot of other good races. I continue to give this one to Vance. All right, and Kellyanne, the issues are still, like on the Ohio voter issues, same as most people in America. Economy at 84%, inflation at 76%. But I want to point out two others. Education in schools, 77. That's very high. And crime at 69%. So you see that creeping up into this race as well, Kellyanne.
Yes, the issue set is very clear. And when people like Tim Ryan run around saying, I'm for women's issues and only talks about abortion, then he's leaving out education, inflation, rising costs, rising crime, which women, of course, are talking about. Hey, folks, all issues are women's issues. Stop narrowcasting to us. And I think J.D. Vance won the night handily, just like Blake Masters won the night against Mark Kelly out in Arizona in the debate last week. Now you know, Dana and Mark, why so many Democrats are dodging debates. And for all the hemming and hawing about, I'm worried about democracy, they always go back to January 6th. Democracy necessitates that you debate your opponents. Give the voters clear choices. Their choice and their choices, their voices comes through their vote. They deserve to see people toe-to-toe. Now, Tim Ryan made two big errors last night. One was calling for generational change when he's standing next to the guy, J.D. Vance, who represents generational change. Tim Ryan has been in Congress for over 20 years. He ran for president against Joe Biden. And like Kamala Harris, Cory Booker, and Beto O'Rourke got 0 electoral votes. But he did run against Joe Biden for president. He ran against Nancy Pelosi for speaker. And Tim Ryan made a second mistake. He said, I don't want Joe Biden to run in 2024. Yet while Joe Biden is the president, Tim Ryan, will vote with him 100% of the time. Look, Tim Ryan he voted against the Bush tax cuts in 2003, and 15 years later, he voted against the Trump tax cuts. This is a guy who's he's voted against tax cuts for people in Ohio, and he's voted for this runaway spending. He's a doctrinaire, liberal, reliable vote. Mark is right. Trump didn't just win the state. He won the state twice by 8 points. Last point, you see Tim Ryan trying to distance himself from Joe Biden, and you see J.D. Vance having won the primary because of Donald Trump's endorsement. He is embracing the former president. You have a Democratic congressman distance himself from a sitting president. We've probably never seen that before.
Mark, he's not the only one distancing. We showed a clip yesterday of Alyssa Slotkin. She's a vulnerable incumbent Democrat in Michigan. She's in a very tight race, but she's very smart. Very articulate person. She comes on the show. She's willing to engage in debates, and she's tried to have an independent mind. But she also called for generational change, but said, however, if Biden is the nominee in 2024, yeah, I guess we'll go along with it. Any last thoughts on that?
Well, look, your best answer and things like that is let's get through this race. Let's deal with who should be the next presidential nominee after that, and stand on the Democratic record of fighting the pandemic, fighting for women's rights, and fighting really for getting things to people like prescription drugs. I think candidates are much better off fighting on those planks than they are throwing their own president overboard. I thought that was true when Al Gore threw Clinton overboard, and I think it's generally true when loyal Democrats do that at the last minute of a political race.
Maybe a last question then to you, Kellyanne. What do you think the conversations are like inside the White House as the president will turn 80, and that will be a milestone of their own? We just read in Politico that they don't expect to have a big birthday party or anything. They're going to downplay that. They want to showcase his accomplishments. But what kind of conversations do you think are happening either inside the White House or inside just the East Wing, the private family quarters of the White House, about running again?
Well, why wouldn't he run again? Incumbent presidents have significant advantages. He's wanted to be president his entire life, ran multiple times, finally made it. And look, we don't need them to skip the 80th birthday party to know that Joe Biden is 80. He is every minute of 80 every day. And we have had so many failures on his watch. And I think that whoever the Republican nominee is, but especially if it's Donald Trump, the binary choice between life under Trump with $2.50 gasoline for a gallon, 1.9% inflation before COVID, and the list goes on and on, versus what we see under Biden. I think that's the conversation they should have. But Dana, I don't see any evidence that this White House has honest conversations with this president at all. We certainly did. They're called private, and they're called tough and respectful, if not deferential, but we had them. And this White House never admits a bad day for the home team. They lie. They lied to Fox News' Peter Doocy in the briefing room. And frankly, I just don't know that anybody is candid enough with Joe Biden, not just about his health and his acuity, but about the terrible state that the country is in and his own approval ratings. They're really bad for a sitting president. Okay, so we're 29 days out. I know we're going to see a lot of you between now and then, and we are grateful for that. Thank you both.
Hi, everyone. I'm Brian Kilmeade. I want you to do me a favor. I want you to click to subscribe to the Fox News YouTube page. This is the only way that I know for sure that you're not going to miss any great commentary, any great news bites, any great interviews coming your way on Fox. You can get it all here on YouTube. So subscribe right now.